здесь, в школе 1476. И вступительное слово представляется директором нашей школы Елене Владимировне Пининой. Hello, dear guests. Здравствуйте, дорогие друзья. Я рада приветствовать вас на конференции ООН. Я желаю вам сегодня плодотворной работы ради взаимного сотрудничества, взаимного понимания. Желаю вам твердых и доброжелательных договоренностей и наилучшего воплощения тех идей, которые вы сегодня друг другу озвучите и примите как совместный проект, совместную деятельность. Я надеюсь, все пройдет сегодня доброжелательно, конструктивно, и это мероприятие станет традиционным в этих стенах.
Спасибо. Предоставляется Веронике Александровне Костиной, учителю иностранного языка.
Здравствуйте, ребята, здравствуйте, коллеги. Разрешите, я буду на русском. Это первое мероприятие такого формата. Мы все с вами очень волнуемся, и участники, и организаторы. Но я безумно рада видеть вас всех, и своих учеников, и лица бывших учеников, хотя бывших не бывает. Я невероятно вами горжусь. И сейчас уже делилась с коллегами своими эмоциями, потому что, вот правда, профессиональные мурашки, да, начинаются. Вы все невероятно крутые. Я уверена, что сегодня все получится. И действительно, как сказала Елена Владимировна, это станет доброй традицией наших двух школ, потому что мы живем с вами в одном районе, ходим по одним и тем же улицам, а значит, у нас с вами есть общие идеи, общее понимание, и пусть все будет хорошо. Желаю вам большой удачи. Welcome!
Гусев Юрий Иванович, пожалуйста.
Добрый день. Я, пожалуй, лучше сделаю, если обращусь к вам как уже не столько ученикам, как к делегатам определенных стран, представителям стран. Поэтому принимайте на себя эту роль. Возможно, кому-то из вас в будущем эту роль удастся сыграть и отстоять наши интересы на международной арене. Поэтому сегодня у вас появится такая великолепная возможность увидеть в живом общении, что значит договоренности и как вот это взаимное общение порождает интересные идеи, которые вы в дальнейшем будете представлять. Поэтому желаю сегодня удачи, гениальных идей и решений и максимальной вот вашего вклада в работу этой небольшой ассамблеи. Удачи!
Дорогие участники, dear delegates, let's start.
Hello, dear friends, our guests, the conference delegates. We are very glad to see you today. In our school, for the first time, we are holding business game, model of the United Nations. And we are about to start our general conference, Global Problems of the World. And let me introduce our Secretary General of United Nations, Galkina Maria.
Dear friends, guests and delegates, it's a real honor for me today to welcome you here on this conference. Human development is not the number of pages learned from the encyclopedias, but the result of our common difficulties. And a person who always goes forward despite the difficulties that arise around him always deserves respect. And any of your result is not a mistake, but the result. So, dear friends, do not be afraid of making mistakes. Any of your result is result, and we should accept it. So, we are united, and we will succeed. And I declare the Moscow Inter-School Model of the United Nations open.
And we open our conference with the United Nations hymn. We suggest you to stand up.
Dear delegates, friends and guests, please sit down. As I have already said, we are really glad to see here all of you today. And let me introduce the teams participating in today's event. So, the participants of the conference are France, Максим Мануров, Даниил Амбар, Алиса Берзова. Great Britain, Александра Андреева, Мария Захарова, Виолетта Баянова. The USA, Артур Галкин, Виктория Ломаки, Екатерина Фомина. Russia, Елизавета Соцкая, Арина Фетисова, Егор Карпунин, Роман Шамаилов. And Spain, Елена Давидюк, Дарья Холодных, Надежда Ксенократова. Italy here, Яна Кириллова, Анастасия Хаджава, Ольга Юрпалова. Germany, Сергей Бобров, Ксения Сурикова, Елена Таратынова, Полина Хромых. And Belarus, Виктор Сидоров, Ольга Ковалка, Борис Мишаров.
Today our conference is dedicated to global problems of the world. And please, attention, look at the screen. For the greeting of the conference delegates, the speech goes to Yana Kirillova, Italy. Italy's wildlife heritage is one of the richest in the world, owing to the variety of climates in the country. However, Italy is not immune to the risk of extinction. According to expert data, there are 161 chosen animal species in Italy, but 6 species have already become extinct. Among the chosen species in Italy is the Mexican brown bear, with only a few dozen specimens left. The main cause of its extinction is a considerable reduction of forests and woodland areas, but also hunting abuse. Other endangered animals in Italy are the Egyptian vulture, the white partridge bats, Mediterranean ducks, and some species of diurnal butterflies. Italy boasts a wealth of bodies and institutions aimed at preserving the land. Fortunately, the conservation efforts implemented in Italy's national parks are succeeding in overturning the fate of many species that were previously considered to be red treasures. And research and protection are in fact extremely crucial. The threat of extinction to a number of species is scarily high, with the assessment putting 28% under threat. In fact, studies suggest that marine species are declining even more rapidly than terrestrial species, with a considerable problem being accidental deaths due to a lack of commercial value. Fortunately, there are many groups of volunteers in Italy today who are doing their best to help the animals. Our country, as part of the UN, is happy to share our insight into protecting wildlife and help currently endangered species and other countries with one in their habitats in safety. Thank you. Thank you, Yana. Then the speech goes to Alexandra Andreeva from Great Britain. Come here, please. A person tries to create convenience for himself, but does not think that most of the resources he uses will ever run out. Don't try to think about what will remain for our children. We must not forget that we are all part of nature. Human civilization has always caused damage to the environment of our planet. But before people mostly lived in the villages and all the waste was organic. We decompose naturally after some time, but now industrial enterprises are creating substances and materials that are not subject to decomposition. This is primarily cellophane, plastic, glass. Of course, they are convenient to use, but we practically do not decompose and accumulate in huge quantities. Plastic waste can be seen everywhere. Such garbage is especially destructive for preservatives, marine animals and birds. In addition to bottles and garbage, many chemical fertilizers and pesticides that are harmful to fish and waterfowl flow into reservoirs from the fields. Smoke chemical on the pipes of factories transport settles on vegetation in the form of smoke. All this leads to a dangerous situation as rain, air and soil are polluted. For the manufacture of furniture and paper, large tracts of forest are cut down. This leads to a decrease in the release of oxygen by plants. With deforestation, rare species of animals are dying out. In order to save the planet, everyone must take care of the state of the environment. It will be great if we stop throwing plastic and glass everywhere, and we will take it for recycling. We can save our blue planet, but first we need to start taking care of the surrounding nature of our native land. Thank you very much, Alexandra. The speech goes to Viktor Sidorov, Belarus.
The best of Belarus experience gets from those original sources and from transfer. The main sources of pollutants into the atmosphere on the territory of the Republic are motor transport, energy and industrial facilities. In 2023, 1,300,000 tons of pollutants were released into the atmosphere by the listed sources. Most of them are produced by motor transport, 900,000 tons, 70%. Stationary sources accounted for about 30% of total emissions, or 400,000 tons. The structure of emission was dominated by carbon oxides, 54%, hydrocarbons, 18%, sulfur oxide, 11%, and nitrogen oxides, 10%. Most of the gases released into the atmosphere are caused by the operation of motor vehicles. The distribution of emission across the territory of Belarus is uneven. The largest amount of pollutants were released into the atmosphere in the Minsk region, 400,000 tons. The smallest in the Mogilev and Gorodno regions, 140,000 tons. The largest volume of emission from stationary sources occurred in the Vitebsk region, 105,000 tons, from mobile sources in the Minsk region, 308,000 tons, or about 33% of emission from mobile sources in Belarus. Among the enterprises, the largest volume of emission of pollutants into the atmosphere took place at the Novopolotsk Naftan OGCK, the Mozhyr oil refinery, and Novolukemska GRES. Among the cities of Belarus, in terms of emission of pollutants into the atmosphere from stationary sources, are Novopolotsk, 54,000 tons, Minsk, 36,000 tons, Novolukem, 15,000 tons, and Gomel, 14,000 tons.
Thank you, Victor. The speech goes to Елена Davidiuk и Дарья Холодных, Spain.
Today we are raising a problem which we can no longer afford to disregard. Here in the United Nations, we recognize the fact that the children are entitled to a free, quality basic education. As you remember, in 2004, this goal appeared to be out of reach for many poor countries. School attendance, especially for girls, was far from universal, and many children dropped out of school before completing their primary education. We recognize that a child's right to education entails the right to learn. Yet, for too many children across the globe, schooling has not led to learning. Over 600 million children and adolescents worldwide are unable to attain minimum proficiency levels in reading and mathematics, even though 2/3 of them are in school. For out-of-school children, foundation skills in the literacy and numeracy are further from grasp. Around the world, children are deprived of education and learning for various reasons. Poverty remains one of the most obstinate barriers. Children living through economic fragility, political instability, conflict, or natural disaster are more likely to be cut off from schooling. Even in schools, a lack of trained teachers, inadequate education material, and poor infrastructure make learning difficult for many students. Others come to class too hungry, ill, or exhausted from work or household tasks to benefit from their lessons. There's yet another challenge we have been facing recently, a massive teacher shortage at the primary and secondary levels. Every education system is only as good as the teachers who provide the hands-on schooling. Study after study has confirmed the critical role in improving education quality and learning outcomes. To secure a quality education for all children, the world will need almost 69 million new teachers by 2030. We must address the problem of universal schooling today, and we must make the right decision to help children take their deserved place in our increasing pace world in which education is the most important and decisive factor of quality of living. Thank you.
Thank you. The speech goes to Maxim Anurov, France.
Illiteracy is one of the most serious global problems that affect many countries. Today, over 750 million adults in the world cannot read and write. In the countries as Niger, South Sudan, Afghanistan, Mali, Chad, Ethiopia, Guinea, Sierra Leone, and Benin, illiteracy rates range from 60 to 76%. According to numerous data, which is publicly available, illiteracy limits access to information and education, as well as increases the risk of poverty and social inequality. Illiteracy affects all areas of life. Moreover, those with low literacy skills are far from likely to face health problems because they can't read prescription labels or instructions, and grow isolated in the world, increasingly dependent on computers. For society, illiteracy increases the country's unemployment rate and lowers community involvement and participation in social and political issues. The fact that it's frequently linked with poverty suggests that some of the causes could be the inadequate provision of skills, inadequate numbers of properly trained teachers, and the economic situations of families that makes education for their children a low priority. Other contributing factors are cultural barriers and economic difficulties and conflicts. Combating illiteracy requires a comprehensive approach, including educational programs for adults, expanding access to education, and developing social programs for the poor and vulnerable groups of the population. However, this problem continues to remain relevant in many countries and requires further effort from governments and society. We're certain that prosperity of the society of today and well-being of generations for tomorrow depends on our mutual efforts in enlightening the world.
Thank you very much, Maxim. The speech goes to Elizaveta Setskaya, Russia.
Approximately 1.2 billion people in the world live in conditions of multidimensional poverty. This is stated in a new report which contains the results of an analysis of the level of multidimensional poverty. It was presented on October 17 on the International Day for the Eradication of Poverty. The study analyzed the level and structure of poverty in 111 countries, where 6.1 billion people live. Experts have found that currently there are at least 1.2 billion people living in conditions of multidimensional poverty in the world, and about half of them are minors. We are talking about a daily income of less than $1.9 per person. As for the other aspects of poverty, the report revealed that more than 50% of poor people, which is 593 million people, have neither electricity nor environmentally friendly fuel for cooking. Almost 40% of the poor do not have access to drinking water and adequate sanitation. More than 30% of the poor are deprived of everything I've mentioned at the same time. Experts have also found that the majority of the world's poor, 83% of people, are rural residents. The most poor country in the world is India, with 229 million people. Nigeria is the second after India in terms of number of poor. There are 97 million of them. This report will be vital for the work of UNDP around the world, in particular to achieve our common goal of helping 100 million people to escape from multidimensional poverty by 2025, said the head of UNDP, Achim Steiner. The authors of the new report fear that in the conditions of the impending recession and the growing debt burden of 54 developing countries, the situation will worsen. The head of UNDP urges to look for all kinds of opportunities to reduce poverty.
Thank you, Elizaveta. The speech goes to Sergei Botrov, Germany.
Dear colleagues, representatives of UN member states, today I am speaking to you on behalf of the German delegation, and I would like to raise the issue of a pandemic that poses a huge threat of each of us and our community as a whole. I am talking about a pandemic that started in 2020 and still hasn't left our world. The COVID-19 pandemic has forced people to stay at home, isolate the chance the lifestyle we are all so used to. Despite all attempts to fight COVID-19, 2023 continues to be the year when the pandemic leaves a deep mark of world history. The statistic of morbidity and mortality continues to grow despite vaccination and the efforts of the world community. The pandemic has had a huge impact on the economy, healthcare, and society as a whole. Today, the pandemic continues to spread around the world and places a huge burden on our healthcare system. Many countries lack resources, including medicines, medical equipment, and personnel. In this context, we, the German delegation, consider this a matter of global importance. We are convinced that the state, no matter how strong and developing is it, can cope with this threat alone. Our country is ready to take part in joint effort to combat all types of pandemic, and we look forward to your support. We are actively working with other countries to bring medicines and medical disciplines to where they are needed. We are also supporting research by working hard to develop vaccines and drugs to fight COVID-19. Recently, it has shown that the importance of observing safety measures and consistently following the recommendations of doctors should not be underestimated. It is important to take care of our personal hygiene, maintain social distance, and wear masks in public places. The World Health Organization is very important in the fight against the pandemic, and we must continue to support its work and recommendations. So far, more than 230 million people have been infected worldwide. More than 4.7 million people have died. These are terrible statistics, and we cannot allow the numbers to grow. It is necessary to work together to fight the pandemic, to do everything possible to prevent an increase in morbidity and mortality from COVID-19. In addition, we pay attention to the issue of economic recovery in countries that have been hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic. We must ensure that our measures as a pressure on the citizens of our world who have been affected both medically and economically. Finally, we welcome the proposal of the brother country Germany and others to develop mechanisms and cooperation in dealing with the pandemic with a better suited to more effectively address this global problem. The importance of the COVID-19 pandemic today leaves no doubt. We are ready to work together with you. Dear colleagues, now stop the spirit of the red and achieve a better future for all. Thank you for attention.
Thank you very much, Sergey. The speech goes to Artur Galkin, the USA.
Global killers. A handful of deadly infectious diseases claim millions of lives worldwide each year. Lower respiratory tract infections, diarrheal diseases, HIV, AIDS, tuberculosis, and malaria. Together, they account for nearly 1/5 of deaths globally. Several of these diseases have plagued humankind throughout history, often decimating populations with greater efficiency than wars. In age of vaccines, antibiotics, and dramatic scientific progress, these diseases should have been brought under control. Yet they continue to kill at an alarming rate, particularly in the developing world. In low-income countries, the dominant causes of death are infectious and parasitic disease, including malaria. And poor causes of death are infectious, medical care surrounding childbirth. By contrast, in high-income countries, the medical surrounding leading causes of death are non-communicable diseases such as heart disease and cancer. In 2008, more than 33 million people worldwide were infected with HIV, and estimated 2 million died. Unlike most other viruses, HIV attacks the immune system, destroying a type of white blood cell, T cells, or CD4 cells that the immune system needs to fight disease. In 2008, there were an estimated 9.4 million new cases of tuberculosis and 1.8 million deaths. The vastity of majority of TB deaths are in developing world, and more than half of deaths occur in Asia. TB is a contagious disease. More than 2 billion people, about 1/3 of the world population, are infected with TB basally. Like the other global killers, malaria occurs mostly in poor tropical, subtropical areas of the world. Each year, as many as 300 million people are infected with malaria worldwide, and up to 1 million die. Most of them young children in sub-Saharan Africa. Humans infected with malaria can develop a wide range of illnesses, from mild infection that goes not produce symptoms to the classic symptoms of malaria: fever, chills, sweating, headaches, and muscle pains, to severe complications, anemia, kidney failure, coma that can lead to death. We strongly believe that efforts made by the international community to fight these diseases are impressive, and millions of lives already been saved. However, we must not lose our grip on further control of the situation and continue research for a more efficient cure. Thank you.
Thank you, Artur. Let's move to the second part of our conference. We ask all the delegates divide to 4 groups according to the draw. The first group includes Italy and Russia. Okay, you can come to the board. The second group, France and Belarus. Your board is right there. The third group, Spain and Great Britain. You can come to this board. Please take your envelope. Okay. And the last one is the USA and Germany. Okay, rules. Each team has 20 minutes. Your task is to define global problem. Then you have to propose as many solutions as you can to the problem that you have in your envelopes. We ask you to write down all your ideas in your resolution, and in 20 minutes your team should present your work. And we ask the team captains to read resolutions on the boards. Okay.
Dear teams, before 5 minutes left, I will announce you and I will warn you, okay?
Okay, let's just this no problem. This yeah. So we need to think of ways that we need to solve it. I think it's 4, 5, 3, 3 is minimum, 5 is the maximum. Okay, so the first way we need to solve that actually in all order in Russia. Okay, let's solve that in one more. We need to make more mobile city. So people with disabilities, like on a wheelchair, easily just move around on the street. On the street and into the shop. Yeah, that's the maximum. Yeah. Okay, so the first solution is to make more mobile cities for those kind of things. Make cities more for people for example, we need to make metro stations or okay, that's one. We need more things in that. Yeah, that's one thing. Maybe we should think about other ways. How should we make it? Maybe increase workplace. Sure. I don't think so. Okay, maybe we need to make something like a profession that will help people with disabilities to walk around, or they will be driving their wheelchair, or something like that. So make we need to increase the amount of volunteers. So how should we make maybe give them more money for their work? The first thing that came in my mind. Yeah, maybe make a bigger one. Maybe cut that down. Maybe more. Yeah. What's your line? Oh, we have already write it down. Oh. So what they probably maybe yeah, size limit. Where people can ask for help. Yeah, definitely. Make make a website, right, with where people can get help for. Where okay, so I think we need to what?
He did it by himself. Where he did it. He's a legal here. He said, yeah, 5 minutes. All right.
That's an Italian word. Yeah, send it to you. Let us think. What's number 4? Give them more money. For all the donation, yeah, maybe they will receive more donations. Okay, maybe taxes will go into donation. Taxes. So taxes you pay will go. What? People, yeah. We will people. So maybe tax money will go to some part.
Where you can not
Taxes. Message.
What's the message? What's the message?
That was not really bad compared to this.
Oh no.
Out of tax. Yes, out of tax. Will go in donations. Yes. Where are we at? Donations. Okay. This one. We don't need 5. 5 is the maximum. We're not really. Yeah. So maybe we need to make okay. Like that. Yeah.
They can do actually what they want. We are here. We're speaking.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's your course card. She's Model
Wait, no, I guess. And
your real
okay. Yeah, that's it. So let's wait for came up pretty good. So
I got it.
we're done.
Ready?
Yeah. Thank you. Oh, let's just wait, yeah. Just London is a capital. Yeah, what a problem. I'd like to be invited. I love the wall like this. We're done. That's it. Yeah. How much time left?
Like, no, our people there, no. Exchange.
I suggest drink.
Хорошо.
Like, something great. Something
for the mistakes. Okay.
Анаид. Анаид. Мария.
Dear teams, we have only 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left, please.
Так.
Do you see?
Okay, dear teams, please. I suggest you to sit down, all the participants. Just sit down. Our time is over. And I will ask the team captains to appear near the board and read their final solutions. Please, the captains of the team. You can use microphone.
Okay. So am I the first one?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so me with Germany, I discussed the problem, which called disabilities, as you can see, and let me see. There was a letter which said, I will read that. Volunteer Thomas helps elderly pensioner and Mrs. Green recover from her illness. He makes sure that she takes her medicines and vitamins regularly, so they go for walks every day. Mrs. Green has a motionless right arm, and Thomas trains her in the gym to help the pensioner regain the mobility. Define a global world problem and suggest how it can be solved. So we have a few solutions here. The first one is make cities more mobile for people with disabilities. And the way you can solve it is make special elevators, for example, on the stair-sets. That's the first one, and that's the most popular, I guess, solution for that kind of problem. The second one is increase the amount of volunteers in the world, so people can help other people with disabilities, for sure, to just live their normal life. So we have a solution here. make more volunteers organizations. I think that will be helpful. Third one, make a website where people can get help. So some kind of man with disabilities will go there, write their problem, and some kind of volunteer will answer them. So the fourth one, the last one, is part of taxes will go in donations. So taxes will pay from our house, our buyings, or our life. Some part of this will go to donate to people with disabilities. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you, Arthur. So please, I invite the captain of the group with the problem water pollution, please.
Our main problem is water pollution. We are making discussion that can help to this problem. Firstly, don't build manufacturers near the water. We mean that factories can pollute water. That can prevent to pollution and that can to pollution. Second, creative programs that can clean polluted water. For example, we can create system of ships that will be clean water from garbage and toxics. And third, create new laws. For example, if a person will break the rules of laws, he need to pay the fine. At the cost of $1,000. And first, water soluble plastic. We mean that people should to create plastic that can solve how like a sugar in water, and if plastic get in water, he can solve, and it can affect at water pollution. That's all.
Okay, thank you, girls. We are flowing to the pandemic, the problem of pandemic.
So, our problem was Mr. Thompson and her daughter Sarah became interested in the proposal of the French volunteer center and visited the online. Volunteers conduct an excellent tour around the museum, told about the main exhibits. Sarah asked a lot of questions and now dreams of visiting this museum after restrictions are lifted. Online museum can open their doors to visitors. Should I help you? As you can see, our problem was what we felt was pandemic. I think you're not gonna find anything new to yourself, but I'm gonna read them anyway. First of all was online museums and lectures, because every schools and museums are locked. We're gonna give the opportunity to people to visit them again in online format. The second was quarantine. It came from number one. If we should lock all the places, and made the people stay in their home. That the virus not gonna spread and make more people to get ill. The third one was limit the entrance in local places. What we mean is that in the place like restaurants, which we say that restaurants, bars, and etc., we're gonna ask people to limit the people who's gonna enter this place and make to control it, try to control it. We know it's not gonna work like we want, but well, no. The first one was, I'm sorry, making cure. What we mean is that anyway we need to try to stop virus by every cost, and we're gonna try to make it, yeah. By using the blood of people who got ill, and trying to find the antivirus in their bodies, or something like this. Sorry, I'm not a really medical person. And of course, the fifth one is close country borders. It's really important part of our, how should I say it, in our program to stop the virus, and to make less contact with other people who came from another country, because we can't know what's gonna, if their country have the same symptoms as our, and if they're gonna go back, it's gonna make problems for us. Thank you.
Okay, I invite the captain of the lack of support for education. Please.
I'm sorry. Yes. So in our case, we got that we have lack of government support for educations. Here's the solutions. The first one is just to open new volunteer centers. Of course, it will be sponsored by the UN. Also, we would like to open trading paths for recycled paper for schools from neighboring countries, set up a job exchange program from foreign investors. So it's here, I'm sorry. It means that investors will support the school, and after children in this school, when they finish it, they will work for these investors. That's how it works. And also, we haven't written it on a board because we didn't have time. Poor countries like Africa, in the Sahara and other deserts, there are a lot of natural values like oil, gas, and others. So they could attract investors to build the factories, and when they will build, they will sell gas, oil, and other things like this, and earn money to support their schools themselves. That's all.
Dear captains, thank you all. And the second part of our conference is over, and we are flowing to the third stage of the conference. I will read the solutions of the groups and ask you to vote. So let's start with lack of government support for education. For dear participants, who vote for? You can use your cards. I can remind that green is for, red against, and yellow is absence. So, who is voting for? Please up your card. No, just use green if you vote for. Okay, against. Abstain from voting. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, two, three. Okay. The second group. Solution of the problem pandemic. You can pay your attention again on this board, and please up your card. 4. Participants 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. Against. Okay, 0. And abstain from voting. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4, yes. Okay, great. Whereby the third group solution of the problem disabilities here. You can see it here. And please, dear delegates, 4. Who is voting for? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we have 6. And against, please. Who is voting against? Okay, nobody. And abstain from voting. Abstain from voting. Okay, great. And the fourth group solution of the problem water pollution. We have it here. And who is voting for? 1, 2, 1, 2, and we have only 2. Against. Who is against this solution? Okay, and abstain from voting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we have 4. And I guess that the result of the voting have been fixed, right? Yes. And we will send you the document tomorrow. And dear delegates, guests, and friends, thank you for your work and for your voting. All our committees will work to solve the problems and all the tasks. And I declare the conference closed. And yeah. And now we are going to take a group photo here. And I ask all the delegates who are here to join us.
Okay, yes, why not? You may take your flags if you want.
Да нет.